Sage on the roster despite being on Ascent.
Yeah, really interesting stuff to start. And these compositions, I think, that's a factor of the game that teams are still working out. I think that they're going to be working it out for quite some time. I'm just excited to see some gameplay. We're getting into it now with the pistol. Nothing really too surprising here. No shorties. Obviously, just going with that 5 ghost setup on the attacking side.
Yeah, we see a lot of posturing here. A early on, likely going to be a fast push into where we see a Cypher lurking, but it's pistol round, right? So it's not going to be a full Cypher setup. He's going to get this cam out, but it's going to give up the position real quick as he gets forced out of the way there with the shock dart. He's going to back up, expecting a faster push, but now they have slowed their pace a bit. We see the rotation from Breach potentially from mid, but he's kind of dancing around a bit, a little indecision.
And straight into A to start things off, and a great paranoia only merits a single frag. Attacking 3 for 3, and the A site instantly falls. This is a massively decent afterplant. Sage and Sova will likely be held outside of this A site as the pistols try and chip and chime through. I don't think this Sheriff's enough to get the job done. Another cam to give away all of the positional advantage. No real saving needs to come into effect here in the pistol. You won't get a massive economic advantage, but with Berghy finding another one, that's really the pistol round over. And well, a great A take there. The paranoia almost fell on deaf ears. A really decent flash, but 1-0 as a result.
I really liked what I saw from Sinatraa there. They were outnumbered, but he used the sonar arrow to find somebody down in the hell area and then tried to use that sheriff to get the wall bang. Really heads up play when you really are behind in numbers and you have to catch yourself up. But sadly, was not enough to get the job done here. And that's going to be first round win, pistol win on the side of Renegades. And despite that, it does not look like many folks are going to be forcing it. There is one Vandal on the side of Renegades, though.
Yeah, you always want the punching power of that single rifle to carry you through a second round like this. Even against the pistols, they can always cause complications here and there. A split burst onto mid only merits the single result. And now Renegade want to breach back in and actually find a couple of kills of their own. Really decent damage here from the Sentinels, all things considered. A couple of rifles drop, and it's down to CP2 to get the damage done. The Nova bolts aren't really going to do all too much damage, as it's 2-0 to Renegades to start us off.
Yeah, you could see the power of that Vandal coming into play there as they took mid control and used the long-range firepower to their advantage, but now that you're up 2-0, we're going to see full buys from both squads. CP2 still holding on to that Vandal, but everybody else opting for either Phantoms or, in the case of Berghy, we also see the Operator. So this is where, if you are Sentinels, you are looking to bounce back because you have the arsenal to do so. This is your real trial by fire, if you will.
Cypher, of course, towards the A site once again, getting that early information and just backtracking away. That spy cam's really powerful to control this lobby area. Obviously, Renegades, they can't get anywhere close to this A site without getting initially spotted and finally taking that cam out. They'll go for the instant burst, and it'll be used with the Phoenix Flash to start things off. A 1-for-0 trade as Cypher instantly falls. This is going to be another retake scenario, surely, from the Sentinels.
Yeah, the Renegades have been phenomenal on their entries so far, but ShahZaM does get this pick here against CP2 to even the numbers up a bit. And now we're going to see a lot of utility being used as they attempt this retake. Nurfed with a double now, taking down Sick and ShahZaM. Sinatraa does eliminate Berghy, though, and with Savage picking off Sinatraa in the counter, it's now 3v1 as Winsum uses the curve, cleans it up, and this is going to be a 3-0 start in favor of Renegades.
perfectly eviscerating those rifles over by A. As soon as Cypher falls, the defense kind of comes collapsing down along with him. There's no real punching power from those defenders to actually get the job done. The rotate was perfectly in time, and yeah, you saw ShahZaM only meriting one opening pick back in the retake. It just wasn't enough. Those 5 versus 4 situations are really damn difficult to get onto that, especially A site. On the defender's side, we'll see pistols come through once again. Not really much equity in this 4th for the Sentinels, and this is a really bad start for the favorites.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be to start for sure. You would prefer to have at least one round under your belt by now, but this is a very interesting start here for Renegades. They'd had a lot of success with these 5-man pushes, but now they are spread out. You've got 2 players making a lot of noise there in the B main area. Meanwhile, the Spike and everyone else is playing it slow back, trying to get some picks. Sometimes you like to say in Valorant that there's no such thing as a fair fight. You want to make sure that you have that numbers advantage, and Renegades has been great at that. I think they're trying to recreate that here, but slower pace to start.
It's also all about those off angles. If you can actually catch one of these attacks by surprise, there's every opportunity. You can kind of snowball that advantage to start, even with a couple of pistols in hand. See Renegades now prioritizing the A site once again, and the gamble over towards B for Sentinels means they should not have much of a defense here. Only Omen to hold up the line. This Aldrone's going to get the majority of that early information, and the paranoia is going to really be no stalemate. Only 15 seconds left, and the kills are starting to come through. There's the incendiary too. The whole defense falls. Should be an easy spike plant, and the round with it. 4-0 here. Surely.
Yeah, this is quite the uphill battle if they wanted to even try to take this retake 3v5. You've got heals now going out as well. The door is shut. Lots of utility being used. That was such a beautiful hot hand earlier when the player was trapped, but Sit does pick off Randyysavage here. CP2 eliminates Sinatraa and is looking to stall even further. I still have to believe ultimately that this round is going to go in favor of Renegades, but it looks like Sentinels want to get some picks. Unfortunately, it's actually Renegades that do so. They get the win. That's going to be some more economic pressure.
Really, the major goal in a retake scenario like that is to do as much economical damage as possible. You see that the bank accounts are running fairly low. Obviously, on Sentinels, they have to pretty much force buy everything into this one. It's the 5th, and they've yet to take a round. Whereas, on the Renegade side, you see that economy starting to build. I think that was $5,000 on at least 2 members right there. And starting to change up the pace with a little bit of aggression. The initial flashbang comes through, and ShahZaM's going to take one for his troubles. There's the wall as a response. And, well, this should really get the job done. Cypher not falling on B until perhaps it's too late. Is Dapr still punching through a little bit of damage? And maybe a little bit of equity here for Renegades. The spray, it comes all the way in for Sinatraa. He's doing tons of damage. And Zombs going to find one as a response. Spike yet to go down, but both of these attackers are isolated and no opportunity for a plant. Berghy drops. This should be the round over.
Yeah, Nerf unfortunately just has 17 health in a dream, and you might take this plant if you want the money, perhaps another pip towards your ult. Does look like that's going to be the case, but you have to assume he's going to pay for it with his life with only 17 health. Does get the smoke down. Actually looks like he's going to stick around long enough to maybe get a pick or two before he falls. I think that is the play here, but this is going to be actually a frag over to Zombs. It looked like it might have been Sinatraa cleaning it up with that Odin spray, but Zombs is the one credited with the kill, and Sentinels are on the board now. That's exactly what they needed. They needed to break the momentum of Renegades, but they did have those credits stored up, so you have to assume we'll be getting full buys all the way around, and it does look like that's going to be mostly the case. Randyysavage and CP2 will have to go with the smaller shields, but otherwise a full arsenal. Berghy had enough to rebuy the operator as well, and still has a decent number of credits left over. And that's rare on Sage. Sage is an expensive agent to play.
This is where things start to get interesting. Sentinels on this defensive side really need to start to chain rounds together right now. One is certainly not good enough at this point, and with a missed bolt, that's going to be no information and also no damage gained. A slow stalemate to begin this 6th. A little bit of short control for the Sentinels. I really liked that previous aggressive play and a pair of headshots for ShahZaM to open things through, and the flashbang too converts his 3rd headshot of the round. It's all versus the operator, but he's forced into ShahZaM's crosshairs. All 4 for him. A beautiful round to control the middle of the map, and 4-2 being the result. Sentinels, yeah, starting to pull this one back here.
Yeah, I really like what I'm seeing from them the last 2 rounds. It's almost like they put a pin in the fact that Renegades had been playing slow. They started with those 5-man pushes, but then after that, they went to this kind of spread out, slow play for picks. Sentinels answered back by playing aggressive, getting early picks, getting their first round win. And then this time, again, the patience and then the awareness for ShahZaM to say, okay, if they're slow walking up mid, now is when I peak. Finds them immediately, got the double, then cleaned up 2 others. Beautiful play from ShahZaM there. Breach is a monster with those flashes in that mid area as well, but looks like Renegades are going back to that 5-man push as they enter on A here. No damage quite yet, though we do hear the Hunter's Fury going out. Is it going to find any targets? It does find Nurfed, and Dapr also takes down Berghy. ShahZaM picking one off sick, and all of a sudden, it's just Winsum by his lonesome. ShahZaM ends that, and this is going to be in favor of Sentinels again, and this is a huge swing in momentum. You were up 4-0, suddenly it's 3-4, and your economy is not that great.
I really like that attempt there for Renegades. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sending all 5 players straight towards the A site once again, and they're always forcing these retake after plant scenarios. This time it's ShahZaM and Sick to clamp down upon A in the retake, finding 3 of those 5 frags to finish things off, and ShahZaM's been a massively influential player to get things started. 9-5.
Shadows traveling.
So we see these smokes going out, and a lot of utility used mid, but nobody's really home. We see CP2 here making a lot of noise, but the plan at the moment appears to be this push into A. And this is always interesting because it's hard to get information from this angle without peeking or maybe sending in a sonar arrow, but that kind of gives away that you are hard stacked in this. And just like that, Zombs and Dapr both find some damage. CP2 does use the Hunter's Fury to pick up Zombs, but Sick answers again, and this is the problem with the 5-man pushes into A, is at times you're just funneling yourself into the spray of the opponents. Nurfed does find ShahZaM, but Sick brings him back up and answers with a headshot on Nurfed. And again, unfortunately, it's looking like this is going to be a big round for ShahZaM. ShahZaM is absolutely popping off these last 3 rounds. We're going to see the scoreboard here. Now up to 10-6 after a slow start. Really finding his momentum. Has this operator now with 7,600 credits to spare.
And really in that scenario, I feel like Renegades are starting to fall into predictability. They've actually thrown all of their approach into the A site 7 out of 8 times. And you see the way that Sentinels actually adapt to this by putting 3 defenders towards that side of the map. I feel like Renegades now need a change of pace, maybe slow things down and send their approach towards B for a bit of a change and maybe take a bit of mid control. You see that they're finally starting to pressure this operator, and ShahZaM, he's going to step up with the first, and there's the wall to create a further stalemate. Not much that Renegades can do about this one, and I really do feel like Sentinels are starting to clamp down, control this map. 4 rounds in a row on Ascent as well. That's definitely not a massively opportune scoreline for this Renegade side. They've got to get the ball rolling once again, and it feels like the momentum is firmly on this defender's side. Adding insult to injury, they lose Sova to start, and this looks like another easy Sentinels performance. With the curveball not connecting, and only the pistols to try and do the damage. This is going to be a brutal crossfire here. Sick and Dapr pretty much finish everybody off. And there's Dapr to finish.
Yeah, this was a great positioning from Sentinels because after they got the early pick, they knew that by clamping down on mid, by establishing that mid control, the opposing squad had to either funnel into those tight areas, which has not been working for them, or they had to come back to mid. So they waited out utility, they tried to come in, the crossfire was set up. It was really very, very easy for Sentinels to defend that because of the numbers advantage. And that's the power of those early picks. Now we see them spreading out, so trying to get away from that predictability you talked about, but also trying to avoid mid because I don't think they want to run into ShahZaM anymore.
He's certainly one to avoid, right? 11 kills already, averaging 1 kill per round. And remember, he didn't have this operator in hand for quite some time, going down 0-4 early. Felt like Renegades had a really good chance in this one, but the backswing has been equally, if not more, strong. Now Drone's not really going to get all too much information. And now the run it back is the key player to watch. Winsum starting things off here towards A. He really needs this opening frag, and Sova's going to chop and chime him away. A seems to be closed for business right now. Sentinels once again just adapting this defense. Zombs right around that smoke. Beautiful stuff, and peppering further shots through. With the beautiful angle there. Winsum and Berghy both fall. It seems like Renegades have somewhat of an answer, but without the spike down, very little pressure applied. And there's 30 seconds left to get this one done. Sentinels, they're left, right, and center right now.
Nurfed is trying to make something happen here with this Odin that he's picked up, but he's trapped. There's no way he's gonna be able to get that done. And I loved what I saw from Zombs that round. The smoke placement was outstanding. It was just in a position where the folks traveling through that little connector couldn't see down, but because of his position on the elevation, he could see kind of over the crescent of the smoke, and that allowed him to pick up that triple kill at a really great angle for him that made visibility hard for Renegades. That was just beautifully executed. I loved what I saw there.
And right,
now it does
a very abusive setup just to steal away a couple of kills. And well, Sentinels, they've been throwing in these sort of aggressive approaches left, right, and center. You see Dapr instantly getting punished this time. And that gives Cypher's ult. So all of the information given and a Phantom to go with it.
Yeah, that was a very important early pick, getting the headshot there with the Sheriff, because that means you can pick up the AR. We see Randyysavage now getting another kill with it. The Cypher also gave him the information, and that was huge. We can see now they're going to get this plant down. It's a numbers advantage 4v2, and they can get in these post-plant setups. So it's amazing how one first blood can completely change around. But when you're these pro teams and you can exploit that, look at Sinatraa just trying to find anybody home. So close a couple of times there with the Odin spray. Sick does get a pick and a res, and they might be able to retake this.
That Odin seems so powerful, and now they have to walk into the crossfire once again. They deal with it with just the sleight of hand of diving down, and it seemed like Renegades were completely caught off guard by that one, just overwhelmed by the pressure of that retake. 7-4, and they recover really nicely, Sentinels, from that disastrous 4-round start. It's a sea of blue to finish off this first half, and maybe this might change the tide for this series. Those first couple of rounds are overwhelmingly important here in Valorant, where if you take the pistol on both sides, it's a massive advantage. With the reverse swing, I feel like this is almost Sentinels' map to lose already. We know that they've got a good attacking side. We've seen it before multiple times now through their Ignition series previous performances. And well, they've got to defend just one more time to secure a fairly overwhelming 8-4 start.
Yeah, even when Renegades looked like they were going to recapture some momentum that last round, again, they had that 4v2 numbers advantage at one point. I was heaping praise on them, and then I caster cursed them. Berghy there does get a pick, but Sentinels just seems to have their number. They're answering back, and even here, right, we see Berghy get another pick, but Dapr picks one up as well. So again, numbers advantage. They're pushing into A. This is the Renegades formula, it would seem. Sinatraa is eliminated. That gets rid of the Odin that played a big role in the retake last time, but Sick getting yet another pick. Feels like he is very, very good at getting these. Dodges the Hunter's Fury here, gets a heal off as well. And does finally fall to Nurfed, and it's up to ShahZaM if he wants to try to 1v3 this. Does look like that's actually what he wants to do. He's looking for the peak. Nurf finds the headshot. So this will be a 7-5 half in favor of Sentinels. They're going to be they're going to be swapping sides now, and we're going to have to watch how this pistol round develops.
I would say that they've got a shallow lead going into this second half, Sentinels. If they can take a pistol round, I might even adjust that to be slightly overwhelming. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if we see a pretty one-sided scoreline to start. Sentinels, of course, the favorites, and well, showing us why here. That half was just, well, smokes galore, very abusive setups to steal away those opening kills. And now on the attacking side, we'll see how bolstered these attacking setups actually are and how quickly they can steal away frags. You see Winsum denied any information right there. Of course, the recon bolt doing a tiny bit of damage with a combination of that sheriff. And now Zombs, he finds the first, it's all walled off, and this B site is up for grabs once more. Sova trying to pick apart the first portion of the setup. It's Winsum, TP2 instead, another beautiful headshot. Sheriff in hand, and a third! Sick falls, and Sinatraa finally able to get the job done. There's the spike down, another 1 versus 2 here, and it seems to be the Sheriff in hand. He's going to need a beautiful performance to keep this scoreline rolling. A great paranoia is going to completely render him blind. A good bit of damage to start us off here on the retake as he's trying to pop a shot through, but there's only 6 bullets left. And Randy's able to finish him through. 6-7, and exactly what Renegades needed.
Sinatraa tried really hard with the wall bangs, was so close to getting it to a 1v1, but CP2 there really gave Renegades the opportunity by getting that 3K with the sheriff. He basically said, hey, this sheriff is in town. I am the law. You're not coming to Site B. Curious to see if Sentinels is going to run this back. I was getting a little bit excited because I see CP2 is going to be doing his best Sinatraa impression here with the Odin. Likely going to be on Site B. I think this is why so many teams usually avoid Site B, because it's so easy to wallbang this corridor. And I'm going to expect this arrow to come out, followed by Odin's spray. But Sentinels avoids that. They go mid. I think they know better, especially with somebody like Sinatraa on their squad who likes to abuse that Odin on this map in particular. Berghy with a quick pick.
And Winsum to close the second out. Nice incendiary to follow, but it's nevertheless still the 2-for-2 trade. Now the Odin comes into play, and CP2 out in the open, comfortable at taking these engagements, and still up for grabs, wants to just wallbang Dapr away, and Sinatraa versus the world here in the 1 versus 3. It's nicely contained, 7-7 is with even Stevens here, Charmer.
Yeah, even Stevens, but this is where we're running into what will be the full buy round on the side of Sentinels. So we see the Phantoms on the other side because of the half buy scenario of the previous round. You're not going to buy up, you're going to keep these Spectres, and this might end up being a moment where Sentinels are a bit favored as a result. They're going to be pushing in. If you're going to swing momentum back, this would be the time to do it. But so far, I like what I've seen from both teams. This is an ebb and flow style of match.
Really close. 7-7, as narrow as it gets here. And on Ascent with play on both sides. I would expect this close scoreline to maintain until the very end. I love this aggression from Winsum. He's right behind the attack, and with Cypher gone, that's the advantage that Renegades were looking for. But they do give away the A site as a compromise, and there's the spike down and away. But in the 5 versus 4 scenario, this is one that obviously they'll certainly want to go for. ShahZaM evening up the engagements, keeping the numbers 4 versus 4 before this retake can come through. Randy's going to be the anchor here from behind. And with everybody flashed on through, Winsum's going to find his first. And not converting to the second, it's ShahZaM instead. With the combination with Sinatraa, just chopping and chiming them away. 8-7 as a result, and that's the swing back again.
I don't know if you noticed the animation there, but it looks like Winsum flashed himself. He got just a hair too antsy trying to make that play. And very interesting result there, because it was almost like Sentinels took a page out of the Renegade playbook. They pushed onto A, they got the plant, and then they had to defend it. But this time around, Sentinels got the job done. And as I said before, that puts momentum back in their favor. So despite the 2-0 start from Renegades here, it's now Sentinels with the full buys and the 1-round lead. And it's going to be up against an eco round. And Sick here with this Phantom gets that pick on Winsum. Again, ARs versus pistols. This is kind of what you expect. We see the boosted Sage up there, but not much you can do. Sheriff versus a Phantom. Sick now with 2 kills. Berghy does get one on Dapr and Savage on ShahZaM, though, so that if they can pick up guns, they might be able to even this out. The res goes out 6 up to a 3K, and once more, going to be pushing out into mid here, trying to cut off any potential rotations for a retake, but at this point, I think that they are going to be retreating, potentially just trying to deny the extra money and extra ultimate pips from the opposing squad, because that Cypher is just sitting alone on site A.
This is really interesting. I feel like we're seeing just so many creases and folds in this Sentinels attacking side right now, where they're definitely drilled in. The unfortunate factor for Renegades is they've only taken 1 rifle round this whole map thus far, and the scoreline as a result looks deceptively close. Now with rifles in hand, I feel like it should be Sentinels starting to apply the pressure, and that's exactly what we've seen, right? Just taking the approach towards mid, towards B, opening up those engagements. I feel like Renegades are going to be under pressure, and as a result, they go for this double operator setup. They've got the Phantoms and the Odin in hand to try and chime through with at least something here, but they're behind right now. They've not taken many rifle rounds, as I said, only 1, and this is where they have to try and claw back a couple before this becomes unmanageable.
I actually really like this setup from the side of Renegades as they try to clamp down. Gives you an operator potentially for mid, 1 for A, and then you have the Odin that can cover B and really just wreak havoc on anybody trying to push through that corridor. So from a defensive standpoint, I like their game plan. We see Nurfed gets this pick on ShahZaM. That's a very important pick here early on, but it looks like all the rest of the action is going to be over here on site A as they try to drone it for some info. Wall's going to get shut, and that means they're going to rotate away and either push through mid or take the long path to B, but it looks like mid is going to be the play for at least the spike.
Well, with 45 seconds left, we see Sentinels start to slow things down, especially a player behind. They want these start cover to fade away so they can crunch in on A, and 6 going to be that side prod. They've got 3 defenders to deal with, and Randy, he doesn't miss the shot. There's the opener, straight through the smoke, just whiffing by a whisker on the second. And Sentinels are almost out of time right now. They need to pressure into A, and with only 10 seconds left on the clock, and Randy still hasn't been taken care of. It's a close shot from the operator to eliminate another. Sick falls. And this will be the reverse sweep, 9-8. And as I said, only Renegade's second rifle round victory this whole map.
It's just something specifically satisfying about the point blank scoped in operator eliminations, because you know, you peek a corner like that and oh, there's an entire body in front of me. I can't miss this. I just left click and I eliminate. But that was a great round on the side of Renegades, exactly what they needed. They bought heavily there. They couldn't afford to lose many members. Thankfully, they did not, and so they get to maintain the setup again with multiple operators and the Odin. I like their defensive game plan. This time they catch him with the arrow, so the Odin's going to come into play, and we see the wall bang, and it's just not getting enough damage because of the boxes there. Sick knows exactly where to stand. The shock dart does catch some incidental damage, but they're still going to be pushing through this B corridor. Or at least trying to get some information. The spike is still dropped back, so they're very clearly, I think, trying to bait out utility, maybe get a pick. They do actually get a pick. CP2 falls, so the Odin has been eliminated. Dapr in the corner, though, he's going to get forced out by this hot hands. Smoke gives him cover to back away, but with the teleport here, the play is hard B. We got Zombs in the back here, wreaking havoc. Sick cleans up Winsum from the pressure that Zombs exerts, and now we're going to be in a retake scenario, and you're down a player. Scratch that. Randyysavage with a pick on Sick here, but still down 4-3. Does look like they want this retake, though. They're being aggressive, and ShahZaM denies two of them. That leaves just Randyysavage, who I think is going to try to back out and save this op. Don't think he's going to get away with it. And he doesn't. He does take ShahZaM with him before Sinatraa finishes him off.
And that's where map control and a little bit of a comfort pick here on Ascent starts to come into play. You see that while Sentinels only push B with 4 of their attackers, it means that ShahZaM is free to roam and move throughout mid, catching a fast flank, finding 2 of those crucial key kills, and that denies any opportunity of a retake for Renegades. I feel like Sentinels are playing chess while Renegades are playing checkers. Might have got that one backwards, but Sentinels certainly haven't. They find double digits first, and a nice assertive lead to get things started. Zombs with an unconventionally missed shot. He certainly wasn't ready for that one, with Winsum taking him apart. A little bit of aggression thrown through, and the recon bolt connects too. ShahZaM with a pair of kills. That's going to turn it right back in their favor. Sick finds that res. This is all falling apart for Renegades right here.
Yeah, ShahZaM with that double followed by the res is disastrous for the side of Renegades. They have a lot of work to do if they want to get back in this, because this is looking like it's going to go in favor. Well, Winsum does pick off Sinatraa here. Make that 3 kills for Winsum, 4 before finally falling to Zombs, but CP2 does pick up 1 with the Hunter's Fury, so right when I'm about to badmouth Renegades, they make me a liar. They shut me up, and that's actually what I like to see. I would prefer close games. I like exciting games, so please, Renegades, if I am doubting you, shut me up.
And how the hell did they pull that one back there? You see the Hunter's Fury opening up so much space towards the A site, and just the kills found as response, forcing all of these Sentinels members out into the open. It feels like Renegades are feeling more comfortable on this defending side, and it seems to be a little more aggression thrown through for this 20th round. The flash lands perfectly, and there's the wall as a response. Straight on in, Winsum just wants to backtrack towards A. They don't need to give away any of these defending members early. Giving up any kill to the Sentinels is obviously disastrous and worth its weight in gold for an attacking side. As you find 4 versus 5 situations, it thins out the defense, makes it much easier to attack these bomb sites, especially A, where you're looking to stack 3 and possibly 4 players at times. I do like this defensive setup, I must say, from Renegades. You think that it's only Cypher towards B, but here comes the push. And with the ult to use, it's only the 1-to-1 trade to start. A perfect flash to finish. And with the combination of the run it back, it feels like Sentinels, can't get any closer. CP2, guns down 2. And it's 10-10.
I got to be honest. 10 to 10. 10 to 10 is just not where I expect this to be. There was a moment when I really thought Sentinels was going to run away with it. I'll just be upfront and honest. Renegades had that hot start. Sentinels really started to pile it on, but Renegades is showing me something here, and I really like specifically what I'm seeing out of Winsum playing aggressively. These last couple of rounds where they've been successful, specifically 2 rounds ago on the retake, it's been with Winsum playing as an entry fragger from the defensive side. The aggressive flashes, I don't think Sentinels has been expecting that, and it's been working in the favor of Renegades.
This is where things start to get exceptionally interesting. Maybe not in this 21st, just up against the Pistols, but Renegades are finding some real decent success on this defending side. They've managed to close up the scoreline. This should very likely be the 11th. Let's see if these Pistols can throw a spanner in the works, especially with this compromising angle. Sick with the first, and that's going to start to close a clamp over on B, with Phoenix and Sova holding as the sole defense. Winsum in the back lines, and ShahZaM, he finds another one. They might reverse this towards the A side once again. How are they finding so many kills right now? He's TP2, he pulls it back, but the long-range spray from the Vandal cannot connect. It's all 5 frags, and ShahZaM going absolutely wild with the Ghost there. Unbelievable. 11 to 10. And really at this point, if Renegades lose this map, that has to be a deciding momentum-changing factor. That 21st round, they should never be losing it.
So we're going to be seeing a full Phantom buy on the side of the attackers here. Just one operator on the side of Renegades, no Odins. CP2 here with the Vandal also has to take a light shield. But this is pretty close to full buy situation for both teams, and I have to think that because of the economic situation that Renegades is in, if they lose this, they're going to have a really hard time pulling this into overtime.
Cage triggered.
This is where Sentinels can start to close, but a key pair of frags. And are Renegades doing this once again? Yes, there is Sicker's response clamping in from mid, and with ShahZaM putting a pair of headshots of his own. This is so scrappy over by the B site. The spike is down all in the open, and that frag means absolutely everything. Zombs doubles up, and this B site, once again, it's up for grabs and Nurfed. A key 1 versus 2. ShahZaM has a dynamite angle here in the afterplant, spots out the head and unable to connect. The paranoia's not going to connect, and Zombs triples things through to find a map point here on Ascent.
That was very scrappy, just like you said, and unfortunately on the side of Renegades, this means that they're going to be coming into this underpowered. It's a force buy. We see Sheriff, some SMGs, one player going to go with the Bulldog, but I liked what I saw at the start. Again, I think Renegades has been at their best when they've been aggressive, when they can let Winsum get out, get some frags. CP2's been great for them as well, but ShahZaM answered back, put things back in their favor. We're going to see the early ult coming out from Breach, as well as CP2 here with the Hunter's Fury. Stick with the boosted Sage to get some info on the B site here. Zombs teleporting in as well, so this is going to be a pretty hard push into B. Berghy with a pair of kills before Zombs takes out Randyysavage. So now this is a numbers advantage in favor of Renegades, but Sick gets Sinatraa picked up and eliminates Winsum and Berghy. Sick is just turning this around. The numbers advantage in favor of Renegades means nothing. If Sick continues to do this, Zombs eliminates CP2, and we're back to Nurfed trying to carry, but it's not going to be enough. This will be map 1 going in favor of the Sentinels.
I do think that's what we were expecting for quite some time. Obviously, Sentinels, they took the overwhelming majority of the gun rounds, of the rifle rounds right there, and